Back at again with another YouTube video. It's your boy Orion G. Today we're gonna react to 10 best WWE matches of 2004. I had to get my computer checked on, so yeah, that's the reason why I haven't dropped in so many days, because I had to get my computer checked and fixed. So yeah, we're gonna react to 10 best WWE matches of 2004. Let's get right into the video.
Join Bet365.
We have an advertisement.
Want to see just how up and down 2004 was for WWE, then look no further than that year's WrestleMania. Mania 20 was held in the splendor of Madison Square Garden and saw The Undertaker return to his deadman persona for the first
Undertaker vs. Kane, right? Or am I wrong?
time in 4 years. Equally, Brock Lesnar vs. Goldberg. Need I say more? Despite the inconsistency, WWE still turned out some absolute bangers between January and December, including a couple at the Showcase of the Immortals. But which ones, I hear you ask? Well, sit tight and all shall be revealed. I'm Adam Pachisi from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are the 10 best
Let's see what the best matches of 2004 are. Let's see.
WWE matches of 2004. Join us. Number 10, Evolution vs. Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho and Edge on Raw. At SummerSlam 2004, Intercontinental Champion Edge was scheduled to defend against Batista and Chris Jericho, whilst Randy Orton would challenge Chris Benoit for the World Heavyweight crown. So, 2 weeks out from the event, on the August 2nd episode of Raw, these two matches were blended together to make a big wrestling soup, and a delicious one at that. Gotta use some crusty bread on the side though. Always. Orton and Batista teamed up with their Evolution buddy Ric Flair to challenge
That Randy Orton, that purple attire, man. Look, fine. What's your favorite Randy Orton attire? I like the green one. That purple one looks nice. That's kind of off topic.
Benoit, Edge and Jericho in this main event. I know what you're thinking, a Raw 6-man tag team match, how could that be one of the best of the year? Well, if you quit your yapping for a second, I will tell you. The action was fast-paced and non-stop across this mammoth 25-minute encounter, as all 6 performers put in a shift worthy of a pay-per-view. Batista showed off his power, Benoit his technical prowess, Jericho his athleticism, and Flair, well, he mostly just chopped people, but he did really well. And
Flair was still wrestling really well at that age. So.
Incredible sequence involving all of the participants ended with an RKO to Benoit and Orton scoring a big pinfall over the champion to round off this excellent TV match. Number 9, Chris Jericho vs. Christian at Unforgiven. Whilst Edge would retain his IC belt at SummerSlam, a groin injury a few weeks later would force him to vacate the championship. A match to crown a new champion was set for Unforgiven, pitting 2 former tag team partners against one another. Christian had turned on Chris Jericho earlier in the year, and now he had the chance to make the creepy little bastard pay further after their lengthy feud. Both men had excellent ladder match pedigree, and it was on full display here. Each man also had a strongly defined character, Jericho the wronged friend and Christian the conniving jerk, which helped them tell a great story in the ring. As with a lot of ladder matches, this one was one big spot after another, including a Walls of Jericho on the top of the ladder, which will
It looks like a really good match. It kind of looks like... Was it better than the WrestleMania match that they had? Because I watched the WrestleMania match that they had, but was this match better than that one?
Ever not be impressive. After they both took some pretty gnarly tumbles, Y2J was able to knock Captain Charisma down and claim the belt for himself, marking his 7th reign with the gold. Not too bad for a match that only came about because Edge hurt his junk. Number 8, Eddie Guerrero vs. John Bradshaw Layfield at Judgment Day. The Eddie Guerrero-JBL rivalry over the WWE
Yeah, they had a good rivalry, them two.
Championship was a pretty noteworthy one, not least because Bradshaw gave Eddie's mother a kayfabe heart attack during it. The recently re-gimmicked former acolytes began espousing xenophobic views towards Mexican people, including an absolutely mad segment at the Texas border. Fans wondered if this would affect their upcoming title match at Judgment Day, but when all was said and done, there was an entirely different talking point. Famously, or infamously perhaps, Eddie accidentally nicked an artery in his forehead whilst blading, leading to one of the crimsonest crimson masks in WWE history. This didn't stop the Madman from continuing to fight, however, as he and JBL carried on as planned.
Looks like a really brutal match right there.
And whilst the match itself was pretty terrific anyway, JBL and Guerrero always had great chemistry together, the sheer volume of blood guaranteed a memorable clash. There aren't many matches like this in WWE's catalogue, and quite rightly so, making this grim sight a total spectacle. We might have placed this bout higher if it had a proper finish instead of Eddie getting DQ'd for using the belt as a weapon, but even so, this is truly something to behold. Number 7, Chris Benoit versus Randy Orton at SummerSlam. 2004 was very much the year of Chris Benoit in WWE, which can of course make it quite uncomfortable to talk about in hindsight. The Crippler would main event the year's SummerSlam in a match we've already alluded to. His opponent was Evolution's Randy Orton, who was also having quite the year. He had gotten this title opportunity much to the annoyance of his mentor Triple H, who coveted the prize for himself, but that led to a horrible face turn for Randy, so let's just gloss over that. Let's instead discuss the amazing match between Benoit and Orton at the biggest party of the summer. It started off slow with the two men feeling the other out, trading submissions before eventually moving outside of the ring. Benoit missed a dive and hit the barricade with a sickening thud, allowing Orton to take over, but the champion just wouldn't.
Is Chris Benoit one of the best sellers of the company? Because I know he can sell really well. He has good wrestling ability. I don't know too much about his promo skills. Does he have good promo skills? I know he can wrestle though.
Quit. In the end, the Viper was able to counter a crossface attempt into an RKO to win the bout and become the youngest world champion in WWE history. Nice job, kid. Number 6, the Royal Rumble match at Royal Rumble. The Rabid Wolverine's banner 12 months kicked off in January at the Royal Rumble, where he was given the unenviable task of coming out at number 1. Starting off opposite Randy Orton, he survived the likes of Kane, Kurt Angle, Scott Steiner, Matt Morgan, and Rico to make it all the way to the end, last eliminating the Big Show to become just the second man in Rumble history to go the distance. Benoit's performance, which broke the Rumble longevity record by the way, really
He went a full hour in the ring.
is the centerpiece of this match, but there were other awesome moments to be found that WWE can actually show highlights of. Mick Foley taking himself and Orton out of the match through sheer hatred, Brock Lesnar costing Goldberg to set up their Mania match, one of the first signs that Deadman Undertaker was coming back. This match had it all. Plus, Ernest the Cat Miller was in it. What a treat. The outcome, of course, means it doesn't get talked about these days, but this Rumble's quality is undeniable. Number 5, Brock Lesnar versus Eddie Guerrero at No Way Out.
Now this match. Yeah, do you guys like this match? Because I think I remember this match. This match is where Eddie Guerrero beat Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. And Brock was hitting the F5 and then Eddie Guerrero reversed it. I think he hit him with the chair, then he hit a frog splash or something like that. Pretty much Eddie Guerrero won the match.
Eddie Guerrero had always been popular, but very few could imagine him at the very top of the company. All of that changed at No Way Out 2004 when Guerrero got his shot at WWE champion Brock Lesnar. This was the ultimate underdog story, the smaller babyface going up against the behemoth heel champion, relying on his quick wits to help him fell the giant. Unfortunately, those wits weren't always quick enough, as Lesnar spent a lot of this match pounding poor Eddie into the ground. However, with a helping hand or shoulder from Goldberg, who speared Lesnar into next week after a ref bump, Eddie
Did I remember if he came into that match and distracted him? I didn't remember him doing it.
was able to regain the upper hand, including a sensational F5 counter into a DDT on the title belts. After surviving the next big thing's prolonged onslaught, Latino Heat nailed a frog splash, pinned the champion, and...
Okay, yeah, I remember he did some, like, it was a spot on the championship belt where he said he DDT'd him onto the belt. Okay, yeah.
wrote his name in the history books. The outpouring of love and support for Guerrero following this big win elevated this moment beyond just an ordinary title swap and into one of the greatest feel-good moments WWE have ever produced. Number 4, Eddie Guerrero vs. Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 20. Guerrero's first pay-per-view title defense came on the grandest stage of them all. His opponent was Kurt Angle, who had turned heel in disgust that a man with Guerrero's questionable past had achieved such success. As you might expect from a match involving a proper wrestler, this bout began with some tasty chain wrestling. Eddie's attempts to speed the match up were quickly shut down time and time again, forcing the champ to meet his challenger on his own level. The story...
Eddie won this match. Did this match have something to do with a shoe coming off? Think so.
Then changed to Kurt trying to work over his opponent's ankle, which gradually wore Eddie down. At one point, he even loosened his bootlaces to relieve the pressure on the joint, which played into the finish when Angle's attempts to use the ankle lock were thwarted and the boot came off in his hand. Quick as you like, Guerrero rolled Angle up, wrapped his feet around the ropes, and won in the most novel of ways. You can't even be mad that Eddie cheated. It's in his theme song, for goodness sake. Number 3, Chris Benoit vs. Triple H vs. Shawn Michaels at Back.
Wait a second. They had another match? Another triple threat match? Because didn't they fight at WrestleMania 20?
Clash. Elsewhere on the Mania 20 card, another former Radicals member was also victorious in a World Championship match, but don't worry, that'll come soon enough. Instead, we fast forward 1 month to Backlash, where they ran the Mania main event.
Who won this match? Let's see.
Back. Chris Benoit was defending his World Heavyweight Championship against forever foes Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and if you liked the first time these three locked horns, then brother, you're gonna love the sequel. Not only was Benoit still riding high off his famous win at the Showcase of the Immortals, but he was in his hometown of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, where he was treated like royalty. This no doubt inspired him to put on a stellar display, keeping up with the established main eventers like he had been a top guy all his life. Trips and HBK played their parts too, elaborating on spots from their previous match to create something familiar yet brand new at the same time. After half an hour of intense fighting, Benoit made Michael submit with a sharpshooter, which was certainly therapeutic.
So, Chris Benoit retained the title
for the Canadian crowd. This was a great way to round out the show, but there was another match on the card that was just a little bit better. Number 2, Randy Orton vs. Cactus Jack at Backlash. One day, Randy Orton woke up and decided he was going...
This was the Legend Killer era. If you guys know the Legend Killer era, yeah. The old Randy Orton theme song.
Going to make Mick Foley's life a living hell. After months of torment and immediately following the Rock and Sock Connection's defeat to Evolution at Mania 20, the hardcore legend decided enough was enough and decided to come after the Legend Killer on his own. In the guise of his terrifying Cactus Jack persona, Mick took on Orton for the Intercontinental Championship at Backlash in a match where the rulebook had been torn to pieces. Coincidentally, that is exactly...
I'm guessing, because I think I've seen this match before. I had the Randy Orton DVD, The Legend. It was like some, I forgot what the title of the movie is called, but it had just a bunch of different, you know, his classic matches that he's put on through his career. And there was a match where he had faced Mick Foley, and I believe there was like barbed wire, and, you know, it's probably like a no disqualification match. What type of match was it? I don't remember. I don't feel like looking it up, but yeah.
Exactly what these two did to each other, because my word was this violent.
I just know it was the time around the Legend Killer era, so.
Thumbtacks, barbed wire, attempted arson. There wasn't a stone left unturned by this aggro ballet dance. Orton sold the whole thing wonderfully, like a swimmer realizing they had ventured into shark-infested waters, with Jack playing the role of a particularly ticked-off Jaws. Orton somehow managed to survive all this punishment and retain the gold after an RKO onto a barbed wire baseball bat, looking like an absolute demon in the process. Like he had done for so many others before, Foley made Orton in this match, another example of selflessness from one of wrestling's nicest men. Number 1, Triple H vs. Shawn Michaels vs. Chris Benoit at WrestleMania 20. Sequels.
This is the match I was talking about. I've seen it. You know, this was like a really good match. You just gotta think about it. Chris Benoit wins, then Eddie Guerrero comes out, gives him a hug, celebrates with him.
They're good and all, but you just can't beat the original, can you? On the back of winning the Rumble, Benoit looked set to face World Heavyweight Champion Triple H at Mania, but that sneaky Shawn Michaels managed to worm his way in. This laid the groundwork for a triple threat, one of the best in company history. Whether they were working together in pairs or as a trio, all three cogs just meshed perfectly, like, well, cogs. The fans didn't just want Benoit to win, as he had been underappreciated for basically his whole career, but they were also desperate to see Triple H's iron grip on the gold end too. As for Shawn, well, he just makes everything better, doesn't he? The Rabid Wolverine finally forced the Cerebral Assassin to submit.
You gotta think about it. Why else would it not be a good match? Those three in the ring. Though all those three superstars, triple threat match. Chris Benoit, really great wrestler. Triple H, really great wrestler. He owns the company now. Shawn Michaels, another great wrestler. All three in the ring, so.
It's bringing this bloody and beautiful battle to a satisfying end, which was made even sweeter when Eddie Guerrero...
Alright, that was 10 best WWE matches of 2004. Subscribe, like, comment, tell me what you guys want to see next in the comments down below. I got more videos coming, stay tuned, and yeah, Uriah out.